All right, so today we're learning how to drive manual. Now, it's not the most important skill. It's not something that you're going to need to know, but if you're somebody who does like to drive, it's something that creates more engagement with the car, and it just makes it more fun to actually throw the gears yourself. Okay, so the first thing we need to know is what's actually different about a manual car from an automatic car. What actually makes it so that you can change the transmission instead of the computer doing it? And what does it even mean to change the transmission or switch gears? So the engine in a car is only so powerful, and that same engine needs to spin wheels as fast as 100 miles an hour and as slow as 1 mile an hour with the same amount of power. That's where gears come in. If you have a low gear ratio, meaning that every time the engine turns, the wheels are going to turn, that gets more power to your wheels, but they're going to turn slower. If you have a higher gear ratio, meaning that every time the engine turns, the gears step it down so that the wheels turn more, you're going to have higher speed in the back wheels, letting you go highway speeds, 100 miles an hour, whatever you want to do, but you're going to have less power. Because of this, though, as we get faster in the car, we need to be switching gears to make sure that the engine can keep up. So first gear might be great for starting. It might be great for maybe 0 to 10. But after that, the engine can only turn so fast to keep those wheels going so fast. So we have to switch in the second so that our wheels can get going faster. That's where shifting gears comes in. So this is our first difference between an automatic and a manual car. This is what's called gear shift, or the stick, has a bunch of names. But basically, this is how you change those gears. It'll have a pattern on the top: reverse, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth for me. But it'll be different for each car. Basically, this is how you change the gears. Once you get going and you want to change a gear, say you're in first already. This would be in first gear because it's up and to the left. That's for first. Say you get going, you want to get out of first, you're going to move this thing down to second. You top out at second, you go to third. Now it's in the middle in the top. I know it's kind of hard to see on camera. And then you're out of third, you want to go fourth, you can go to fifth, and then you can go sixth. That's what you see these people messing with all the time when they're driving stick going like that. They're changing their gears. Then the last difference before we get started driving are the pedals. In an automatic car, normally you have 2 pedals, but here you can see we have 3. Same as the automatic, with gas on the right, brake on the middle this time. And then this one is the new one. This is called the clutch. What the clutch does is it disconnects power from the engine. There are 2 things with the clutch that we need to understand so that we can actually drive. The first one is that because it disconnects power from the engine, like I said, it is necessary to be able to shift gears. We can't shift our gears if the engine is still trying to spin us, because then it's going to mess up all of the internals of our transmission. So we need to take that power away, get everything spinning freely so that it's not under pressure, switch the gear, and then put the power back. That's what we use the clutch for. And then the second thing is that clutch, it's not an off and on switch. It's like a gas pedal or like a brake pedal where you can take power away progressively or only use maybe half of the engine's power. So depending on how much you push that clutch in, you can go all the way down to the floor, or you can go about halfway and get maybe half of the engine's power actually down onto the road. This is what we need to use for starting the car, because the amount of force that it takes to actually get the car rolling is often more than the engine can just output on its own. So we need to use a little bit at a time. Like I said, lower wheel spin, but higher power. And then the car will start rolling, and then we can use the rest of the engine's power. That's what most people struggle with when they start, and they do something called stalling. This is what it looks like to stall the car. So I'm in neutral right now, but I'm about to go to first. And then we're going to try and start this car. What I'm not going to do is let that clutch out progressively like I told you guys, and watch what happens. So we're in first now, clutch out, and my car dies. You can see right there. My engine shut off because the power that it took to actually get this car going, when you just put it down all at once, is not enough, and it kills the engine. That's what stalling is. So in order to avoid that, we need to use the clutch progressively. So let me turn my engine back on here. All right, so same thing. This time I'm gonna give it about half of my clutch and a little bit of gas. What I'm gonna be watching for my gas, and a good tip for you guys to be starting, this shows your RPM. This shows how fast your engine is spinning, okay? So this is a good way to check, not how fast you're going, but how much gas you're giving the car. So you can give yourself baselines to be able to start and stop, and then eventually you'll get to know how it feels. So, half clutch, I'm in first right now. Half clutch and a little bit of gas. And then we can actually start driving. And now I don't have my seatbelt on, but it's gonna be making noise. So now we're driving. And the engine, you see how those RPMs are getting pretty high? So I need to shift my gears so that I can get faster wheels. So my clutch is all the way in. I shift first to second. And then we're good again. RPMs are low, I'm saving gas, the car is happy. I feel like I need to shift again. I push my clutch all the way in. Third. It's that easy. And then one more thing that might come up. This right here is called a handbrake. This is your parking brake pretty much. On an automatic car, you just have a gear that you put it in park. Basically, our park gear is to have the car in neutral, which, by the way, you can check neutral by making sure that your gear shifter is free to move. If you put it into gear, it's not going to do that. But if you're in neutral, it'll move all over the place. Our parking brake is putting the car in neutral and then actually putting up a physical brake. So if you have this up, obviously you're not going to be able to start the car because your brake is on. So to put these up, a lot of times people just try and push the button. It's really, really hard to push that button. It's really easy. You lift up a little bit and the button goes right in. So now we've actually moved locations because I want to demonstrate the next concept, and that is drifting. When you get good at these skills and you actually learn how to put power down to the road fast, how to put it down slow, there's a lot of fun that can be had. Wow, my windshield looks dirty. You can have a lot of fun with it. So basically, when a car is turning really tightly, say this is the front of the car and that right there is the end of the car, the wheels, the ones that are doing all of the turning, are at the front. So instead of turning in an even circle, the front is actually going to turn faster than the rear. It's kind of hard to demonstrate, but basically because this has the wheels on it, this moves in a smaller circle and the end moves in a wider circle. Now, because of that, while it's turning, the whole end has a force that wants to kick it out the way that it's turning. So if I'm turning in a circle like this, holy shit. If I'm turning in a circle like this end, instead of turning on the road, it's going to want to kick out. It doesn't do that because the tires in the back keep traction. What if they don't? With manual, you can actually just get rid of that traction. You can make it to where the engine puts all of its power down on those tires as soon as that force is on the back, and the whole back spins out and you're in a controlled slide. This is what it looks like. So yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know to drive stick shift. Enjoy.